You were looking live here in beautiful Salt Lake City here on a lovely, was it Wednesday? Wednesday evening.
Oh, it's always Wednesday, Darren. It's always Wednesday.
Sure. Welcome to DNA HQ. My name is Darren. That is AJ. This is an episode of the DNA Sports Recap. How's it going, my man?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I'm excited to be here and ready to be here and just shoot it. You know what I mean?
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Let's jump into it, man. Nobody's watching on the live stream quite yet, but if you are watching on the live stream, when you're watching this later, please feel free to jump in the comments. Make sure that you chime in, let us know what you're thinking, what we're talking about here, and just interact with us, man. We'd love to interact with you folks, so be sure to let us know where you're watching. And as always, AJ wants to know your favorite color, so let us know.
If you don't tell me, I'll be sad.
That's right.
Like very sad, so do it.
All right. Well, okay, so we want to jump into the podcast here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Should Cam Rising's number be retired at the University of Utah?
The Utah Mammoth is having the 4th overall pick in the draft. Who should they take?
With the Utah Jazz, let's get our reaction on the Jazz falling to number 5.
Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson are now off the ban list. What does that mean for Major League Baseball? All that and more. My name is Darren. That is AJ. And this is the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
How's it going, AJ?
Dude, I'm doing so good. I'm just getting more and more pumped up now that we're getting into this. I'm so ready.
Yeah, let's do it. Once again, folks, if you're watching this on the live stream, please feel free to jump into the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Please engage with us during whatever. If you have an opinion on what we're talking about, please jump in. Let us know what you think about what we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel after, please feel free to comment down below. Let us know what you think about what we're saying here, and let us know what you want us to talk about. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, we would love a rate and review.
Do it.
All right, let's go ahead. First, jump into our first subject. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about University of Utah football. Before we get into content, folks, we did just want to let you know we did just launch a channel specifically for your Utah football club. We just launched a channel for your Utah football. That just doesn't sound right.
Utah football team. That's all. Yeah.
It just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't. You're right.
Anyway, we just launched a channel specifically for your University of Utah football team, and it's called Utah Football DNA. Link to that channel will be in the description below if you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap. Be sure to jump in the comments. Let us know what you think. Smash that like button for your boy AJ over there. And consider subscribing to this type of content that you're enjoying. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the first subject we want to talk about. This is something that you brought up. I believe the place I saw this first was Locked On Utes is where I first saw this.
Yes.
And this is whether or not should the University of Utah retire Cam Rising's number.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So you got to start. I mean, you really got to preface this whole thing, right? Like, let's just talk a little bit about. I mean, you got any career statistics on Cam Rising, or you want me to kind of go over them?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I got this. So Cam Rising, I mean, this guy had a ton of career highlights, obviously. Everyone knows, consecutive Pac-12 championships, consecutive all Pac-12 honors. This guy really became a fan favorite because he took this Utah team from mid-tier to a team that was much better. And, he gained a bunch of school records in the way. I mean, this guy had 6,000 yards passing, 53 touchdowns in his career, 986 yards rushing. 62 of those yards came in the infamous Rose Bowl game where on a 4th and 1, he runs 62 yards for a touchdown. This guy's a Utah legend, right? So Cam is very much one of the most instrumental players for success in recent Utah history. Mm-hmm. It's just what it is. His legacy, though, was tainted by injury and seasons full of high hopes, low execution. Everyone that's watched Utah football over the last couple of years, remember all the games that Cam didn't play in and not the games that Cam did play in. But like I said before, he transitioned this program from middle of the pack to a back-to-back Pac-12 championship team. And he really helped this team make massive strides in recruiting and talent acquisition, because this team with Cam at the helm, he led them to wins and seasons that were just full of excitement. Like, this team had national recognition. They were a team that every time you turn on ESPN, they were talking about the University of Utah because Cam Rising was the quarterback position. So to answer this very question of, do I think he deserves to have his number retired at the University of Utah? No, I don't. The only number the University of Utah has retired is 22. And we all know that the reason no one will ever wear the number 22 again. Mm-hmm. And the thing is there's so many greats before Cam Rising that don't have their numbers retired currently, right? Alex Smith, Eric Weddle, Jamal Anderson, just to name a few guys that went to the NFL and made huge impact. And the Utes just typically, they just in the past have not retired numbers. The only one they've ever done is 22. So I guess in my opinion, if you're going to start retiring numbers, you need to go look at some of these guys that really broke through and put the U on the map for guys like Cam Rising to start coming here. So you definitely don't start with Cam. That's not the first number you retire at the University of Utah. That doesn't mean that he doesn't hold a very unique place in Utah football history.
Yeah, you kind of just stepped all over my first question I was going to ask you on this one. Was like, I could not find another number that University of Utah retired.
Yeah.
It's not on the boards anywhere. There's not like a jersey retired. You see the Forever 22 one, but other than that, that's it. There's no jersey numbers I see retired anywhere. So that was my first question. Like, have they ever done it before?
Yeah.
So my answer to this was pretty much spot on what you're talking about there. I don't think that there is a lot of players out there that if they have retired their number, if their University of Utah was going to start retiring numbers, they needed to do before this.
Absolutely.
Now, does that push out the potential of the Ring of Honor?
Right.
So, you know about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the west coast of the thing on the field, where the press box is, you can have your name put up there.
Yeah.
And does that is something like that going to be done? Absolutely. But again, to your point there, it's not exactly something you're just going to do right now.
Yeah.
You got to give it, I don't even think, what's his name?
Alex Smith just went up there like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes. And what's his name? Ron McBride's not up there. I'm sorry.
Right. No.
Not Ron McBride. That's the BYU coach. Just blast me, Darren. Who's that? It's like just out of my head. Anyway. Was it Ron McBride?
I don't know.
That was like the BYU coach.
No, I don't know why we don't know this.
Oh, gosh. Jeez, it's going to drive me nuts. Anyway.
But to your point, like the fact is like just the Ring of Honor. Alex Smith only made it there a couple of years ago, right? So we're talking. It took 15 years to get Alex Smith's name on the Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
and that was after a really successful NFL career where he made Comeback Player of the Year. It was Ron McBride.
It's totally Ron McBride. Okay. 1990, 2002. I don't know why I did not.
You questioned yourself. Man. You got to stay strong. Stay strong, Darren.
Yeah,
you got this, buddy.
Yeah, I think Ron McBride should have been up there before Alex Smith was. Just because he had some success, a lot of success in the NFL doesn't mean like there was some controversy around that. Like, why wasn't Ron McBride up there first before Alex Smith? So I don't know. I think you're right. I think what they're doing right now is they're not going to be retiring numbers. I think what they're going to do is they probably put him on the slate, probably somewhere down the road to get his name up there, probably before other quarterbacks like Brian Johnson or something like that. Wasn't he the quarterback when they were undefeated? Season?
No, that was Alex Smith.
It was Alex Smith when they ran undefeated?
Yeah.
I could have sworn that was Brian Johnson. My mistake. But anyway, so when it comes to that there, I just think that that's probably more likely what's going to happen. I don't really think that they should change the way they do things to retire a number. Again, that's just our take here on that. But yeah, I think we're actually in agreement. I actually didn't think we were going to agree on that one. I thought you were going to say yeah. So I'm actually,
especially when I opened with all of the statistics and how great he is.
He is great. There should be absolutely nothing but admiration for Cam Rising. But I think you're right. It's going to take a year or two for people really start reflecting on that and not reflecting on the PTSD moments of will he, won't he that we had to deal with for the last couple of years.
It is. You have to look at the great career that Cam Rising did have, and not the last couple of years that he was so on the fence, and that stuff's just still too fresh in your memory.
Yeah, and honestly, you can't blame him for any of it.
No, I mean, if you're going to blame anybody, it's probably Witt and his coaching staff for riding it as long as they did. And rather,
Not moving on.
as a fan base, we were so, we wanted to see Cam on the field because we wanted to win and we had such high expectations for all these seasons. I don't know. I
don't blame Witt for it either. What I really think it is, and when it comes down to me, is just because of how new the whole NIL situation was. They were trying to do right by the players with him and Brent Keefe that had some significant NIL deals, and there was no rules in place saying that they would still get paid if they were hurt. So they were just very careful about not saying anything like that. I think that's what the front office was doing. But what the AD department was doing in order to keep everything kosher there. So that's probably where I think it was all coming from. So I don't really blame Witt. I don't really blame Cam. It's more of a, well, what we're going to do, So I don't know, man. Do I think he should have his name on the Ring of Honor? Yeah, eventually. Do I think it's something that they should do? There's probably about maybe 2 or 3 people ahead of him before.
Yeah.
But he's definitely on that short list for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, we want to know what you think, folks. Let us know in the comments down below when it comes to Cam Rising and this recent talk in the market about retiring his number. Should he be the first? Is this something that we're overlooking? Is this something that we should be considering? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. All right, we want to go ahead and pivot over and talk about a couple of transfers, a couple of folks that we've landed over the last since we last got together.
Yeah.
The first one I want to talk about is some new transfers, and the first one's going to be Larry Simmons.
Yeah.
The 6'1", 190-pound Simmons from Moss Point, Mississippi. He was rated as a 3-star prospect and was graded as an 89 grade by 24/7 Sports coming out of high school in 2022 recruiting class. The Utes actually offered him right out of high school, but he chose Ole Miss, where he passed for a total of he posted 421 yards on 27 catches.
Nope, you missed that one. He didn't play a single snap as a freshman for Ole Miss. And then he used a redshirt season as a sophomore. And then he transferred to Southern Mississippi and had those exact stats.
Oh, yep. Okay. I see where I messed up there.
Yep, you're good.
Cool. Anyway, so other than that, what do you got on this guy?
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge pickup. Like you said, the Utes were looking for, the Utes had looked at this guy early, right out of high school, and he chose to stay near home and stay in the SEC. But he's going to add talent and some veteran leadership. This guy's been in college football for 3 years. And this is a wide receiver group that got a lot younger during the transfer period. The little bit of experience that they had chose to transfer out, take different opportunities. So this guy's got a really solid chance to be the number 1 option for Devin Dampier on the wide receiver slot. And it's pretty exciting that the Utes got one of their guys that they originally went after, right out of high school. So pretty cool to see him, come, have some experience and come try to catch some balls for the U.
So I gotta ask you, man, does this move the needle for you when it comes to the University of Utah, when it comes to the wide receiver room? I think we lost a lot more than we gained with Zacharias going by Zach this year, transferring out of the University of Utah. I think it went from one of our strengths on offense to definitely, pick up these other folks that are on the portal that everybody else passed up on.
Yeah.
Where is this kind of stuff? Does this improve your confidence in our wide receiving room?
I think that this helps because this guy's got some more collegiate experience. He's going to be ready to come in and contribute right away. Mm-hmm. Where Zacharias Williams only had 1 season at the U last year. He had a few blips of great catches and versatility, and you weren't really sure what to expect. This guy has a little bit more college tape. He did play all of last year at Southern Miss, and at least you can see what he's capable of, with the 6'1" frame. I mean, this guy was a top 70 player in the country at his position at high school. So he's got talent. Yeah, he didn't make it far, super far at Ole Miss. Like I said, no snaps, and then he redshirted. He was looking to get some playing time so that he could get an opportunity just like this. And a lot of these guys come in really hungry and ready to come prove that they belong in a Power 4 conference, and they deserve to be wide receiver number 1. So I don't know if it moves the needle, but I think it definitely helps, just get some talent back in that wide receiver room, for a little bit more veteran player.
Gotcha. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the other transfer that we got, which was J.C. Hart. This is 6'2", with 3 years of eligibility left.
Yeah.
For this guy. He contributed to 15 games over the last 2 seasons. Most of those have been on specialty teams with 62 steps on the defensive end. What are your thoughts on this guy?
I mean, the portal takes and the portal gives, man. So this is another nice SEC talent. To get a guy out of Auburn, it really hurt when we lost Cameron Calhoun to Alabama in the transfer portal, Cameron Calhoun was an NFL ready, right? He was a Michigan transfer, had a great season for us last year, took an opportunity at Alabama as soon as the transfer portal opened. So this guy is kind of that. He's got that kind of potential at 6'2". It's right in the size that the Utes kind of look for in that cornerback position. So great size, great length. He's going to be a great depth addition to a cornerback room that we actually have some really talented cornerbacks already. But this guy's going to have a chance with 3 years of eligibility. He's going to have the chance to develop into a starter down the road. That's exactly what the Utes need to keep doing, is adding depth, give guys opportunities. And this could be one that pays off.
There's a lot of talk about how the University of Utah is going to operate going forward, and when it comes to the football side of things, when it comes to these people jumping from one year to the next and kind of going all around. And when the Supreme Court thing comes down and that judgment comes down,
it's going to happen eventually. Yeah.
When we find out what's going to happen, there's going to be some changes. But currently, what it seems like what the University of Utah is doing is they're bringing in these undervalued prospects from other schools, developing them up, and then with 1 year left of eligibility, they're jumping ship and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think the Utes need to kind of lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's been successful for them in the past, but they were like here for their senior year. But what if you don't have to worry about that? What if you know that most of these people are going to be chasing the bag in the third year, and you just focus on developing that talent and getting them in to get a decent reps out of them for 2 years, and then when their last year's eligibility is up, then they go chase the bag somewhere else?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what this season's looking like. I think that's a lot of what these players look like. They're going to find guys that they believe have skills that contribute sooner rather than later. They give these guys. The Utes have always been really good at finding undervalued talent, man. That's how they've been successful. As long as I've been watching Utah football. They pull these 3 stars out of the local state, or they go out and find them. They've got their little honey holes that they can go find these players that are good and overlooked and bring them in. And yeah, the NIL's kind of killed it because you don't have the culture of staying with the team, and
they gave you the shot.
They gave you the shot, right? Because now players are chasing money. Different conversation for a different day.
Yeah, don't blame them.
If
people aren't going to college, man, you can get enough money to buy a house when you're still in college. Definitely go for it.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact is like, what I want to talk about this on another episode.
Sure,
it's a whole different topic. But how NIL has saved players like Cam Rising, who 2 years ago at the end of the 2022 season, or 3 years ago at the end of 2022 season, Cam Rising was an NFL prospect.
Did he get hurt though?
Right at the end, yeah. I mean, he got hurt in the Rose Bowl game.
Yeah, so
but that's what I'm saying.
Anyway,
he was still an NFL prospect though, right? Like this guy was going to be guaranteed millions of dollars. He ended up getting it because he ended up staying through NIL.
Mm-hmm.
But without that, anyways, different conversation. Okay. I do want to talk about it because there's a couple players that is worth discussion on that.
For sure. Should be a nice piece, depth piece there at that cornerback position for the University of Utah. Like you already said, we have some people there, so we'll see what happens there. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to either Larry Simmons or J.C. Hart. Do you think these additions are something, nothing, everything? We want to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below.
Yes.
Once again, when you're down there, go ahead and drop us a like. Check out the merch store. We got some University of Utah stuff coming, so keep an eye on that. And again, if you've enjoyed this conversation we've had on your University of Utah, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Again, this is a channel dedicated specifically for your University of Utah football content. If you're watching this on our main channel or joining us on our live stream on DNA Sports Recap, a link to that channel will be in the description down below. So make sure you check us out there.
Do it.
All right. So with that said, do you want to go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about Utah Mammoth?
I sure do.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. Before we get into content, folks, we want to take this moment to, first of all, encourage you to join the conversation in the comments down below. Let us know what your thoughts are and what we're talking about today when it comes to Utah hockey, which is now Utah Mammoth. We've launched a channel specifically for your Utah Hockey Club called Utah Hockey DNA. Please feel free to check this channel out. The link will be in the description down below if you're watching this on our main channel. DNA Sports Recap. Smash that like button for your boy AJ over there. Consider subscribing if this is the type of hockey content that you're enjoying. All right, let's go ahead and get into our first subject here. So before we get into the content there, before we talk about the NHL draft, I want to give some attaboys to our team captain, Clayton Keller. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so he was named as captain for Team USA for the upcoming 2025 IIHF in Sweden and Denmark. I think that's pretty cool, man.
Really cool. Really cool. And it could have happened to at a better time, I think, because I think that Utah Mammoth can use this like momentum to show that we've got young studs on this team, guys that can go out and lead a team full of USA stars, go to international competition. And you just kind of hope that he goes there and just really shows out.
Oh, for sure. Shows that he's a leader on a team, a French team in the playoffs that could have gone to the playoffs this year. And just naturally had that role. So Team USA had no objections with placing him as team captain. All right. So when it comes to draft lottery, it doesn't get any better for that. For your Utah Mammoth Hockey Club, they jumped 10 positions, went from number 14 all the way up to number 4, which is very impressive. Stop shaking your head. That's the wrong franchise. We'll get to that.
I'm sorry, I can't help it, man. It's coming, and I know it's coming.
Just stay to the positive, man. Your Utah Hockey Club, the professional sports gods are smiling down on it. When you actually try, you get rewarded. That's just all we're going to say there.
Yeah.
When you got the number 4 overall pick in this draft, first of all, that is awesome. What do you think that the Utah Mammoth is going to do with this pick, man? Do you think they're going to draft somebody, or do you think they're going to trade it away? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, GM Bill Armstrong said it exactly like it is. Game changer, right? I mean, This is a huge opportunity for this franchise. They thought they were going to be picking way later. And I hope, there's obviously there's going to be some trade scenarios, right? People are going to be looking to see if Utah wants to move this pick. They do have a really good young core. And this isn't like the heaviest or, most talented draft in NHL history. There are some good players. And Utah's going to be like focusing on scouting and research and making sure we get a player that is actually going to help sooner rather than later, because that's what we need, right? This team is it appears that this team is in win now mode with some of the acquisitions, some of the guys they're signing. They've got talented guys on the roster. So, we need some centers. We need some goal scoring. Again, there's no generational talent in this draft, but there are a lot of really high quality, prospects that can come in and potentially help us sooner rather than later. I mean, I could see the Mammoth taking James Higgins, Anton Frondell. Those are guys that look to land in that 5 to 6 range. And then, some dark horse guys like Jake O'Brien or Roger McQueen's talented guys. Martone is probably one of my favorite guys. I don't know if he falls all the way to 4. Porter Martone is a really talented, wing player that is a great scorer. He's really an elite offensive player at 6'3", 207, and he's probably one of the more talented players in the draft. So I would be surprised if he gets to our spot. I think he'll probably be taken 1 through 3.
Yeah, Porter Martone probably is going to be taken 1 through 3. I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. However, the Athletic has us picking him at number 4.
Yeah.
So again, right wing, which is something we could use. He is a powerful and physical player with a strong shot, and he's very competitive. Look to him having a very common, like Logan Cooley-esque type role with his team.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that if the chances do get to that, I definitely see them taking him if he's still available. So there are notable mentions there on some other mock drafts that I saw were James Higgins, like you mentioned there. Bleacher Nation has them taking the Boston College center. Higgins is known for his playmaking ability, skating prowess, and his hockey sense. Some scouts have him compared to a Clayton Keller.
Yeah,
so, we already have that player, but it's always nice to have another version.
If you can get 2 of those, you just take them.
2 guys.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I also really like the idea of Matthew Schaefer, the defenseman from the Erie Otters. He's widely considered the top prospect in the draft, but like you mentioned, there's no real universal overall one. I think if there is one, it's going to be this guy. But I definitely think the teams, like you mentioned, that are in the top 4 are going to be drafting, not playing the whole I'm taking the best talent available.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem to be a guaranteed number 1, number 2,
number
3 type player. I think everybody's going to be drafting based off of their team's needs for both now and the near future. So
yeah, I mean, and one thing is Shaper could drop. I mean, he could fall down to 4. He did sustain a collarbone injury later in the year. So if he does fall, I mean, Utah's going to take that risk, man. I mean, the fact is, if you can add a top defenseman, and kind of bolster that blue line a little bit more, you're going to take that opportunity at 4 every single time.
Oh, for sure. And Sportsnet actually has us taking Anton Frondell. You mentioned him as well. So yeah, lots of good players that are going to be taking advantage, that we can be taking in that 4 spot there. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, folks. Let us know what you think. Who do you think that the Utah Mammoth should be taking on the number 4 spot? Really, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below and where you think. And even if the Utah Mammoth should trade this pick and not use it, and just go after in the trade spot, go after what they need. Because again, like you mentioned, I wouldn't necessarily say win now mode. I think it's more compete now mode.
Yeah,
I think they want to compete. I mean, the 3 things that really hurt this Utah team this year was not being able to hold a lead when they had it. That was a big problem.
Yeah,
winning on the road.
Yeah.
That's another big problem for this team.
And both of those things are just due to experience, right? Because you did have so many young players out there a lot of the time. The Sean Dursey injury in the middle of the season, it really kind of showed how valuable Sean Dursey was to this team. And then to lose him for that month and a half, to his injury, his undisclosed upper body injury, it showed that, when we had some of those younger players, we went through that stretch where it was just, like you said, you struggled to keep a lead, you struggled to win on the road. Those are things that young teams struggle to do. So if you can retain some of that talent, which we made some good signings and extended some guys, this team has a chance to really compete now.
I agree with you. I think it's especially towards the end of the year. I think they finished 6-3 out of their last 9 games.
They looked so much better. They were on a tear. Unfortunately, they were a victim of the
greatest run of
it was just insane. Yeah.
So St. Louis Blues won 14 games straight or something crazy.
It was
like that.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, man, I really look forward to it, man. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Looking forward to the offseason there. It's going to be a big deal for this Utah Mammoth club and see how we change things. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into our next subject. Now, this is something we kind of dived into a little bit last week, and then we realized, it needs its own segment, so let's go ahead and kick the can down to this week, and that is changes to the Delta Center. Now, we could put this in our next segment when we talk about the Utah Jazz, but I figured this was a better fit here.
Yeah.
Because all the changes that are being made regarding the hockey club. So
yeah, because the Delta Center was already legendary for basketball.
Yes, exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the first thing is going to be capacity, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the hockey games, we're going from 11,000 to 17,000 once renovations are complete.
Yeah. I mean, that's current hockey capacity is, like I said, 11,131. They're going to go to approximately 17,000 once renovations are completed. And the big thing is you're improving all the sight lines for all these seats that you're adding, right? You're adding 6,000 seats that there's no obstructed views. Every single seat in the lower bowl has a full view of the ice, which is insane. That's absolutely needed. And these changes are coming with some pretty extensive work that's being done on the infrastructure.
Yeah, so we're working with a Michigan-based company, Stage Right, to engineer 29 retractable rows and extend all the way from the third concourse all the way down to courtside, which is pretty impressive. Hopefully keeping the same slope lines that Jazz fans are accustomed to. I say close because I don't know. I saw the mock-ups. Even the line sight's not going to be the same. It's going to be not as steep, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah,
comparatively to most NBA, arenas.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the Clippers Stadium where it's the wall where those seats are literally straight on top of each other.
Yeah,
those are absolutely insane.
Yeah, so the plan is for the bowl is to elongate 12 feet, and they're also going to be raising the floor by 2 feet to help with sight lines in preparation for upper bowl changes down the road.
Yeah,
you got some breakdown there on these.
Yeah, I mean, so find where we're talking about here.
Did I derail you there?
Yeah, you did. If you have it, you can just keep talking.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about it last week, so that's why I didn't.
Yeah, I did, and then I erased my notes from my notes were better last week than they were this week, and I was like, I accidentally clicked through them and deleted them. I was just no.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the purpose of this is that there's going to be some rows that are actually going to be adjustable. So like there's going to be rows that are going to. So what they're going to do is we're not going to have like that stupid college basketball thing where people actually have to hop up to get onto the floor.
Yeah.
You know, the whole floor is going to be raised, as well as the stadium seats are also going to be adjustable, which is actually engineered specifically for this arena. This is the only time this technology has ever been used.
Correct.
So, which is going to be really impressive to see. What they're going to do is just be able to raise up the seats there along with the floor to give you that capacity that you're going to need to see, and hopefully get rid of those awful sightlines that we had last year. I don't know, man. If when you're the team, yeah, it sucks that you don't have 100% vision on both sides, but you know, going from 6,000 stadium up to 11,000, I think is pretty good. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Did you watch the video where they were mocking us all up and showing how they were all tearing us down and everything?
Yeah, I did see it. And I mean, when you're watching, like what their plan is to cut like the whole back sections of the stadium out. It's just like, could you imagine the undertaking that it's going to be?
Yeah. This thing was built in 93, and part of what they're cutting away is structural.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reinforce.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Extending the bowl out another 12 feet is kind of a big deal, man. This is not an easy renovation.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, this is state-of-the-art technology, right? Like, because not only are you increasing the seating capacity in the hockey games, but you're also increasing the basketball games capacity too.
Yes.
So you're raising that from 18,206 to nearly 19,000. So you're adding another 700 to 800 seats for the basketball games as well. I think it's going to be a really cool change for the players. I mean, like you said, you know, the Mammoth team went from 6,000 at, you know, when they were with the Coyotes to 11,000 last year. Now they're going to jump to 17,000. That's a crazy change.
Every game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy change.
There's also going to be a 12% increase in bathroom facilities, which is always nice.
Absolutely.
Always good to hear. There's going to be some more premium seating, some more things in that line as well, which is, you know, just par for the course there. They got to make up that money somewhere. So they're going to make more expensive seats for sure.
Yeah, and they're adding 450 stalls worth of parking.
Yes, parking. They're doing a parking structure, which I think is fantastic. It's probably going to be premium as well, so we'll see. We got channel legend Greg Hawkins jumping in here. Howdy, gents. It kind of sounds like the mics are different.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Do they sound okay?
Like where we we'll get it figured out though. Anyways, the Jazz will continue to suck for years. Cubbies lost the freaking Marlins tonight, and I'm
ambivalent
on the Mammoth.
Rising rocks.
Appreciate it, man. Hot takes all the way through, man. Absolutely love it.
Anyway, thanks, Greg. We appreciate you in all the subjects too.
Yeah, it could be worse, man. You lost to the Marlins. Like, the Dodgers lost 11-1 to the Oakland. Sorry, not the Oakland A's, the Sacramento A's last night, which was really painful to watch. So right there with you, my friend. Right there with you. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you folks. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to the Utah Mammoth and the changes that they're making in the Delta Center to make this a top tier destination for hockey, man. I really think what they're doing is going to be impressive, man. Obviously, it seems like, to Greg's point there, this hockey team is going to be competing a lot sooner before the Jazz are. So, you know, to make it a little bit more of a appropriate arena for hockey is a smart move. Once again, folks, we want to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, a link to Utah Hockey DNA, a channel specifically for your Utah hockey content, will be in the description down below. Sorry, Utah Mammoth content will be in the description down below. Man, it's getting hard to get used to that. Yeah. I thought I would nail it out the gate because last week I did. I screwed up on it once. Yeah. This week, hitting it every time. But anyway, so drop us a like on there on that channel. If you're watching this on this video, slap us some engagement. Really appreciate it. And consider subscribing to Utah Hockey DNA if that's the type of content you're here to watch. We'd love to have you aboard. Yes. All right, so let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit more about your Utah Jazz. Let's do it. Before we get in the content, folks, we do want to take a quick second to tell you about Utah Jazz DNA. This is the channel we designed specifically for your Utah Jazz content. All of our Jazz content will be posted here first. So if you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, or checking us out or watching this during our live stream, link to Utah Jazz DNA will be in the description down below. So be sure to check us out over on that channel and subscribe to the channel if that is the type of content you're here to watch. And as always, smash the like button for Adriel. Yeah, and if you're a Jazz fan, this is the type of content you want to watch. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and talk about the draft. We have some reactions for you. What was your reaction when you found out that the Utah Jazz were getting the number 5 overall pick?
Oh man, this was tough, Darren. This was tough. I think the first word I sent you was I think that was the first thing that I sent you when I immediately saw it.
Yeah.
And then I just had to search all synonyms for disappointment because that was the only single word. So this is my list. Oxford lists these following words as synonyms for the word disappointment. Okay. Sadness, regret, dismay, sorrow, despondency, depression, distress, mortification, and disenchantment. And I felt every single one of these words. My heart was broken as a Jazz fan for a whole nother season of losing. And it just might be too much to bear, man.
Yeah.
Might be too much to bear. I mean, I've watched so many great seasons of Jazz basketball, and the thought that we have to go through another one without that key piece is just heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, appreciate it, Greg. Yeah. We still had it on computer audio.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. It's doing awesome. We're doing great, guys. We're hanging in there.
It's our first time.
Yeah. But yeah, man, honestly, I mean, I'm more convinced that's okay. Let's talk about that. So where are you at when it comes to the whole conspiracy theory, that the thing was rigged? Basically, everybody, even not Jazz fans, but everybody out there was saying how that it was rigged. What are your thoughts on this?
I try not to lean into conspiracy theories and it being rigged and all of this. But where my feeling is there is a purpose of a draft in professional sports. And the purpose of this is to help struggling teams become competitive and build through the draft. The whole intent of the draft is a balancing mechanism, right? So the worst teams get the best incoming players. And when you look at what happened during the draft this year, you had a team that made the play-in tournament get the best incoming player. That is completely wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, they shouldn't even been eligible. I think if you made the playoffs, you made the play-in tournament, you shouldn't have been eligible for the draft lottery. But here's my thing on that, man. The reason why the draft lottery exists the way it was, and the way it was set up the way it was, is to prevent people from bottoming out and tanking every year.
Yeah.
And in this case, it absolutely worked. Since 2019, the team with the best odds to get the number 1 overall picked hasn't gotten it.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened. And you have to go back several more years. You can see examples of how Cleveland, with less than 5% of the chance, got the number 1 overall pick 2 years in a row, conveniently aligning around some stuff with LeBron James. So it's like, is it possible for them to rig the draft lottery? Absolutely.
100%.
There's a lot of people there where they talk about, where they talk to the people that was in the room, not the room that we actually got to see, because that's not where the draft lottery happens. It actually happens in a back room where the ping pong balls are going. Team representatives are in there, but they're sequestered in that room until after the TV show airs. So that way but everybody in that room knows what happened a half hour before we get to see it, right? Justin Zanuck was there, and there was a couple of reporters there one from Deseret News. And what they were saying there is that it would be very hard to fake that. And I would say it'd be very easy to fake that. All you have to do is make sure that the balls that you don't want to go up first are weighted. You can weight the balls at different weights. You can have saline solution injected into those balls, so only the lighter ones come up. So you can easily fake that. So the fact that they're saying that it's really hard to fake, no, it's really easy to fake. And so I'm not on this train. I don't think it necessarily happened. I think the Jazz's most likely option, which was to get the number 5 pick, which they had a 41% chance of happening, is what happened. We only had a 14% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick, a 20% chance of getting the number 2, and I think like a 25% chance of getting the number 3. And yeah, we slid to the stuff we had the highest odds on, which was getting the number 5 overall pick. I'm not surprised, man. This is just how this works. This team has never moved up in the draft, and is either A, held fast, or B, dropped. And that's just kind of how it works. I don't know if there's anything more to it than that, but to me, that's kind of where I'm sitting on this. Am I disappointed? Absolutely. Was I expecting anything more? No. Was I hoping for it? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm upset because the draft is just, it's no longer fulfilling its core purpose to make teams that are struggling or trade away talent. You're not spreading the wealth among the NBA. You're top loading it into teams. And that's the problem, is this is what it appears at this point.
Yeah. Is the Mavericks really a top tier team? Like,
they're not one of the worst teams in the league, though.
No, they're
like
mid-market.
Even for them to be a mid-market team, why are we infusing talent into a mid-market? And I can tell you why. It's because Dallas is one of the largest markets in the NBA. It's top 10.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true. Honestly, man, I'm going to pivot away from the doom and gloom of the draft.
Absolutely.
Before we do that, let's go ahead and jump into a comment or two here, because I have a feeling that Greg Hawkins has got something to say about
yes.
Say we got the Jazz announced the number 5. I start laughing manically because that's how it goes for us. Tanking is straight up gambling. 14% is terrible odds. You never take that in a casino.
Great
Absolutely.
Point.
Very, very good point.
Yeah.
I'd be really interested if they actually posted the odds on the games there in a casino.
Yeah.
Everybody would be playing Keno if that was the case. Our ceiling is low. It took us 2 Hall of Famers, giving us 20 years of their career to make it to the finals twice. At least Rudy and Don years were entertaining. Absolutely, man. I'm gonna have to agree with you 100% on that one, man. And it took running into the greatest player of all time to keep the Jazz from winning a title.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think, and I'll get into it here in a minute, but the right way for this franchise to be built for sure. I get into Jazz. I get into the Jazz when we have playoff teams. They can consistently do that without the draft gambling. Yeah. So this is kind of how I'm sitting on this, man. Like, okay, great. Now what? Explain to me, front office, Justin Zanuck, Danny Ainge, SCG Group. Okay, your big plan blew up in your face. Now what? You were hoping on a 14% chance that some, franchise changing talent was going to fall into your lap, and you gambled with it. You haven't done the last 3 years correctly. You said it was a tear down that took 3 years, and this is the first 3 year of the rebuild. If you're listening on the podcast, there's some air quotes in there. What is your plan now? That's what I want to know. I want to have a press conference with the front brass and ask them, what exactly is your plan now that you didn't land that? And don't give me that crap that you've been talking about in the press that you're just we're going to work really hard to trade up in the draft. No one's going to trade with you. You don't have the assets to trade up in this draft. The Spurs aren't going to get up number 2 because they're going to use that in draft assets for different players, which we'll get into here in a minute.
Yeah.
But no one's going to trade up. The highest possible you have a chance to is getting up to number 3. And is the number 3 pick really going to be game changing for this team? I have to say no.
No, it's not. I mean, if it helps a little bit more, because there is 3 to 4 really good players in this draft. There's only one generational talent in this draft, but there's players that can help immediately in the first 3 to 4 picks.
Yes.
However, we don't have one of those 3 or 4 picks.
No, we don't. I want to kind of jump into that because honestly, man, I'm more confident now. Let's get into the positive. I'm more confident now, whoever we get at number 5, that the development we're going to see with that player more than 4 out of the 6 of our recent draft picks we have on this team. I would say outside of Isaiah and Flip, I'm feeling very underwhelmed. Now, Hendricks gets a pass because he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But with the exception of that, I'm very underwhelmed with what we've been doing as far as developing young talent that we've had with this team so far. I am more confident with who I'm seeing the Jazz are getting at number 5, which we'll get into in a second, more than players that played for this team last year. And that includes KG3, who has 2 years of development now.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I'm like, come on, man. You've been here 2 years. We still don't know if you're a point guard or a shooting guard. We don't know if you're going to be a starter. We don't know if you're going to run on the bench. I'm actually more high on Keontae's tangibles than I am on Isaiah's, but Isaiah's done more proof on the court than KG3 has. So it's very, very confusing. And that's why I'm choosing on that positive note to hang my hat, is that we're at least going to get a player in this draft that we're going to actually be able to see some development out of a lot faster.
I mean, you would hope so. I mean, we had really high hopes for Cody Williams, when the Jazz drafted him.
It's been the biggest disappointment, man. of the year.
And I still think that there's a ton of upside to Cody Williams. I think he's got a lot of work to do. I think a full NBA offseason will help him get bigger and stronger and understand the game a little bit better. He does a lot of the stuff right that you want in a top 10 draft pick. But at number 5, with the path that the Jazz are on, you can't miss at number 5.
Not right now. You can't. No, not
Like,
this year.
You were all in on number 1, and then you're good with 2, 3, or 4. But at 5, you've got to get the best player available at 5, regardless of his position.
Okay, interesting. So with that said, who are you going after?
I have to change my notes, so you're gonna have to give me a second on that.
Okay, I'll go through what I've went through a couple of mock drafts here, and I wanted to kind of talk about what I've saw. So CBS has this actually. I'm going to use them last. No, we're going to just go for it. CBS actually has us picking Ace Bailey as a small forward at 5.
Why do they think Ace Bailey falls? Who goes ahead of him?
Obviously Cooper Flagg,
Okay.
Dylan Harper, Trey Johnson,
VJ
and
Edgecombe.
VJ.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have us picking up Ace Bailey as a small forward. They're saying that most of his game is mid-range. He's shooting most of his points there, but he did average 17.6 points, 7 rebounds, and shot 38% from 3. And most importantly, he is 6'6". So I'm okay with that.
6'10". Ace Bailey's 6'10".
Okay. You gotta be careful when you read these, because you're gonna have the pre-draft measurements and then the measurements they are in shoes, which I don't know which way I want to go, man. It's not like they're playing basketball flat-footed. They're gonna be wearing shoes.
100%.
So
Everybody's wearing shoes.
So I don't know why are they measuring them outside of shoes?
Yeah.
But anyway, so when it comes to that, man, I don't know. CBS has us taking him up. They think he slips down. ESPN has us taking Jeremiah Fears, which is the 6'4" point guard out of Oklahoma. He averaged 17 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. What I don't really like about this guy is shooting like 28% from 3, and he's undersized. Out of shoes, he's 6'2", which is, not what we want to have. That's your Donovan Mitchell size. That's your undersized guard, right?
Yeah.
Those rebounding, those assist numbers don't wow me for a pure point guard, but honestly, man, we're already seeing better development out of Isaiah Collier. I'm not sure how much I love that pick. But then again, they're not doing anything really. Isaiah Collier has his problems too, so I'm perfectly okay with him losing his spot to somebody like Jeremiah. If coming out of this draft, he's better, but it sucks because Isaiah was one of the players out of the last draft that actually showed some promise. So that's one of the things I didn't think was great. The Athletic had us taking Trey Johnson, which I would love to take in Utah. He is 6'6", and he is a combo guard, shooting or point guard, average 20 points per game. That was one of the players that I saw that
shot almost 40% from 3.
Yes, which is really great. But yeah, so those are the 3 that those 3 publications have us taking. Who do you have? Do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the Trey Johnson pick.
Mm-hmm.
I like that more than Ace Bailey. I mean, I think they take Ace Bailey if he's available. I think, but I don't know. I think I would have to probably dig in a little bit deeper into what what the Hornets need. I mean, we're talking the Sixers got the number 3 pick, dude.
Yeah.
The Sixers.
JK Philly, we got to jump back on with those guys, man. Have another.
Yeah, because I want to talk to them. Like, what the hell?
Oh, if you haven't checked out the channel, we did a collab with them, and I posted the video on the channel there, so you have it when they reach out to us there. All right, well, let me tell you who I would not be surprised if the Jazz actually decide to go with a different option at number 5. You're talking about going after a player that you're not going to miss on.
Yeah.
What if the Jazz decide to go for another white boy from Duke?
Con.
Yeah,
Newpel. It's got to be Newpel.
Knipple.
I'm guessing.
I've heard Knipple.
I'm guessing the first case silent.
Okay.
I don't know.
I've actually heard the K pronounced, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so this guy is 6'7", 217 pounds from Duke, small forward or shooting guard, by the way. 6'7" guard. You know how I feel about guards.
Yeah, got to be tall.
Mm-hmm. Right? And he is the only 90-50-40 player in this draft.
Yeah.
So he's shooting 90% from 3, 50% from the field, and 40% from 3.
90% from the free throw line. You
Yeah.
said 90% from 3 the first time.
Sorry, 90%.
That would be impressive. I
Okay.
want 90% from 3.
So 9% from the free throw
Yeah.
line, 50% from the field, 40% from 3. He would be great length and size, which is what this team's really going to be known for. You got Larry Markin and Walker Kessler, both big guys, and then you also got Hendricks, who's coming back, and then Flip, who's also lengthy, for his size anyway. So I just think he would be a good fit for that. If the Jazz actually decided to, let's trade this draft, drop down a little bit, let's trade this pick, drop down a little bit, and get us to go with Con, I'm actually okay with it.
And did you see that he shot 63.6% from 3 during the tournament?
No, I did not see that.
63% from 3 during the tournament.
Which is when the game matters, man. Like, yeah, no problems there. And do I want to see Walker Kessler taking 8 threes a game and then having to run laps if he doesn't shoot at least 5? Absolutely not. If we want some size and somebody who can really stretch the floor, Con's a good fit, man. All over the place, man. Every time I look at like which player best fits the Jazz, obviously Cooper Flagg would have been it. But outside of that, man, if you're going for like a Cooper Flagg light, I think Con might be the pick, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts, man. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. What do you think the Utah Jazz do with the number 5 overall pick? Do you think they try to trade up? I don't really know if there's anybody who'd be willing to. Or do you think that they're going to pick somebody based off of what we said here? Are there any picks that really jump out to you? We want to hear from you in the comments down below. Let us know for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, let's hit some of these comments here. We've got Car Wash channel. Heard the Jazz might trade up to get number 1 pick from Dallas. Yeah, I've heard that. That's coming from the Jazz. They're thinking they're going to do that, but there's no way in hell they're doing that.
Yeah, nobody's moving the number 1 pick.
Yeah, Nico already came out and said that they are keeping their pick and they are drafting him. So they're not even considering offers right now, which would be cool if they did. You guys going to trade up? There's going to be a trade to get Q pick. I don't know what that
Next one maybe.
Yeah.
The Jazz. 1 pick.
1 pick. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, man. I would like for it to happen, but I seriously doubt that it would. I'd love to see us trade up to get the top pick, but we'd have to sell the farm. And honestly, we can't sell the farm, man. We are not even the best option. There are 5 teams out there that have better young prospects. Dallas needs win now players, and we just don't have them.
Laurie.
Yeah, but that's the contract. That's just not workable. What are you going to move with that contract? If we didn't lock him up for a max level deal, then yeah, maybe. But we have to take 80's contract back with that. Like I don't know. It just doesn't work. There's just too many other teams that have a better option. So we also have here when you guys get a chance, change the banner to say Utah Mammoth. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll have to worry about that because we got to worry about changing the channel name too. We got to figure that out if we're going to do that or not.
Yeah.
The Jazz got 14 first round picks that they can trade.
Yes, they do have a ton of assets. Absolutely
Yes.
right.
I believe they've actually used a lot of those. I think they only have 8 left, future first round picks. But there might be some other ones that are outside the first round, like you said.
Yeah.
Here. So, but anyway, so we also have another comment here from Greg Hawkins. Isn't there some deal with OKC next year if we get? Yes. So if our draft pick falls below 8 or below, it goes to OKC. So if we got Cooper Flagg this year, then we would have been okay with giving up our top pick, but it fell below to giving to OKC.
Right.
But because of that, obviously we didn't get him. We don't want to win games this season because this is also a stats draft with the Boozer twins and AJ DeBenza and some other players that are coming up that we don't necessarily want to do that.
I think we need to finish middle of the pack. That way we have the highest chance at getting the.
Yeah, as long as our odds are below 2%, we're almost guaranteed to get the number 1 spot.
We're freaking in. Yeah.
You also have here. I think so, but I don't know Greg Hawkins. Yeah, I know him. He's a cool dude. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, the draft was rigged. So yeah, man, there's just too many. If you told me that the draft was rigged, if you were to come out and prove it, I'd be like, okay. But I can also be just as like, come on, guys. Like our greatest odds happened. What we could get, best odds played out. We're pissed because we spent all year trying to get the worst pick, and when it came out that we only had 40% odds versus 40 something odds that we're going to get the 4th pick, the fifth pick, we get mad when our greatest odd chances are what plays out.
Right.
I can hear it both ways, but if honestly, there's way too much coincidence. If you go in the history of the draft, going all the way back to LeBron James being drafted by the hometown, and then Derrick Rose being drafted by the hometown, and then the Cavs get the number 1 pick mysteriously when LeBron James is coming back to Cleveland, and then, oh, by the way, Chris Paul, you can't be traded to the Lakers, you're being traded to the Clippers. Sorry to you, New Orleans, you're losing your franchise point guard, but hey, we'll make sure you get the number 1 pick in the draft and Anthony Davis. Sorry, Anthony Davis, we're pulling you from New Orleans. You're going to be going to LA. Since we're pulling you to put you in a bigger market, we'll give you the number 1 overall pick in Zion Williamson. There's just way too many of these things that happened that if you were to show me any proof that draft was rigged, to be like, okay, yeah, because there's just way too many coincidences, in my opinion.
Yeah, and too many coincidences are not coincidences.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. But we want to go ahead and jump into the next subject there when we talk about the Utah Jazz. Is going to be, something that isn't getting talked a lot for us when it comes to this, but there is a lot of talk about this. Giannis Antetokounmpo did make it known with his team, with the Milwaukee Bucks, that he would be open and willing to be traded this year, this offseason, in a rebuild. Basically, that Milwaukee's going to be entering in a rebuild, so they may be. And he said that he's willing to be traded. There's a lot of teams being discussed about this. One of them that was mentioned in an interview in a
couple articles,
but isn't necessarily talked about a lot is Utah.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is something that the Jazz absolutely got to make a phone call on,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we just missed on the draft, right? Cooper Flag was our light that could, we could start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with Cooper Flag. Giannis is that same way. I don't know if the Jazz have a shot. If there is somebody that can make a deal, the Jazz have the assets. They do. They've got a ton of pieces they can move. They've got some impressive young players, especially after last season. We got to see a lot of those young players kind of shine, kind of show that they could maybe be potentially more on a team with more talent around them. And I think this is something the Jazz have to make a phone call. See, the thing that I love about Giannis is he's not a big market guy. He's played in Milwaukee his whole career.
Yeah. Be willing to stay there if the team is competing.
Yeah. And he's not interested. I think the biggest issue is going to be if he doesn't want to play for a team that's rebuilding, he's not going to choose the Jazz, right? Because the Jazz are rebuilding. And I don't know if Giannis takes us to the level where we're even a fringe playoff team. What do you think?
Well, I do think the Jazz are obviously going to make the phone call. They have to, right? I think they're going to give him a say in it, but ultimately it's not his decision.
Right. Absolutely.
They can trade him wherever they want. They're going to trade him to the team that offered him the best package. Just ask Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
So while the Jazz could offer a great package, like I mentioned, then we have up to 8 first-round draft picks we can trade in regards to this. I think the other 5 are pick swaps. I can't remember exactly. Car Wash, let me know if I'm all wrong on that one. But yeah, you definitely make the phone call. You definitely make the offer. The only problem is this draft actually not only did it give us hope on this, it also kind of screwed us because the team that actually has the best option, the best package to offer him is going to be the San Antonio Spurs.
Right.
They got Victor Wembanyama. They've got a team of talent. They got that Castle kid. They also have what's his name from Sacramento.
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, they have Fox on the team.
Yeah.
So, and they also have the number 2 pick now. So the San Antonio Spurs had the number 2 pick. They could trade that along with a package of young win now talent and another plethora of picks that they can offer. They're also first rounders for Giannis. So they have a better option. They have a better offer than we do, as well as OKC. I don't see them doing that because they're in the playoffs right now. They're about to go into the Western Conference Finals, right?
Yeah.
They're a team that looks good. I don't know if they want to mess up that chemistry by bringing in somebody like
I don't think so.
Giannis.
I think OKC stands pat, dude. They're very happy with the team that they've built.
But they have more assets than we do, not only in trade picks, but also in young talent. So they would also, if they wanted to go out and get Giannis, they could do it, and they'd be in a better position than we are.
Yeah.
The other option is going to be the Houston Rockets. Now, again, same issue there. They're doing well. They made it to the playoffs with their young core. Do they necessarily want to throw in a wrench and completely change the makeup of that team by adding Giannis? Honestly, I think they would. But for me, it's going to be more likely to be the best option for Milwaukee to trade Giannis it's going to be San Antonio.
Yeah.
But so I don't think the Jazz really have a shot at it. Do I think they should try? Absolutely. But I don't think that they're going to have the best offer.
We just got to trust in Danny Ainge, right? There was only a little bit of sarcasm there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'd love to hear it, man. If you guys got a comments down below, let me know where my faith is need to be with Danny Ainge. I think he completely misses the understanding of how to build a team in Utah,
this market. Yeah,
versus building one in Boston. That trade basically fell in his lap where he was able to get all those picks, and everything, and get all those players. So it's a little different. Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump into a few of these comments here.
Oh, you got to go way up. Car wash channel right there.
Car wash channel.
Mm-hmm.
All I want is the Jazz to make the playoffs. Hey, that's a good start.
I'm in, dude. I'm all in.
Good starting point. I'll go into my strategy here next week on what I think the Jazz need to do. I got a good one for you.
Perfect.
We got another comment here from Love Runsworth. I can't see from this far behind, but if you guys, if you could trade Laurie and 5 for Zion or Melo, would you do it? I'm not going anywhere near Zion Williamson.
No. I mean, LaMelo, yes. If you could trade Zion, if you could trade Laurie in the 5 for LaMelo, I vote yes.
Yeah, I'm good for that. I'll go get LaMelo in here. We'd have the best floor general in the NBA, if you ask me.
That kid is such a stud, dude.
Yeah, so I would definitely do that.
And he's fun to watch, and he's actually, for being a ball kid, he's actually pretty humble. I like LaMelo a lot. If that's an option, yeah, I vote yes.
I don't know if they would make that trade though, because I don't know if
the Hornets aren't going anywhere near that.
Yeah, I don't think they have any interest in Larry marketing. But we have Car Wash Channel, the championship, no championships, just the playoffs. I prefer championships, but playoffs is more likely. Hey man, we gotta crawl before you run, right? It's the natural result of randomness. Yeah, exactly. And it hurts when a team like us, a fan base like us, suffers through a whole year like that. And we actually had to watch all the bad games. We had to cover this team. So
yeah, it was
made it worse.
Super fun.
Did you hear the news about Giannis Antetokounmpo is up for?
That must have been right before we started talking.
Yeah, must have been. Yeah, you must have been right there on the same trade as we are. Same thought process as us. The Jazz can trade to get him. Yeah, we did kind of cover that a little bit. Statistics
just aren't intuitive. You have to force yourself to understand them against your normal instincts. If I model the exact draft 10,000 times, Dallas gets number 180 times. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gotta love the odds, man, for sure. Let's see here. The results alone are insufficient evidence of rigging. It will happen about 1 in 60 times over the sufficiency large number of drafts and possibly more of a smaller number of drafts. Yeah, we're just never in this position. Ask the Detroit Pistons how often they were the worst record in baseball and how many times they fell to number 5 pick. It happened to them, I think, three out of 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you the Pistons are always the worst team in baseball. It'd probably be terrible for a long time, honestly. Like, I don't think any of the Pistons players could hit the ball worth of shit, Aaron.
Just can't even let me get anywhere on that one. Doesn't give me a glimpse. Let's see. Giannis might make us get us a championship. That's why we need him.
It depends on what we got to give up.
Yeah,
I think that's the big thing. Is if you can keep Laurie and some of these guys together, I think Giannis could help this team at least be a fringe playoff team that has enough talent to make some noise. But are you going to give up all of your depth with Giannis, and is that worth it?
Yeah, I don't know if we can. The question is to ask Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge and Justin Zack. We also have another comment here from KG10B.
10 to the THS.
10 to the THS.
Utah already is Zion. They don't have to. Great point. Thanks for the comment.
Yes, folks. Once again, folks, we want to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. We did just start a channel for you, Utah Jazz, called the Utah Jazz DNA. Link to this channel will be in the description down below. If you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, be sure to check us out. Drop us a comment. Check out our merch store. We have a Hot Rod Hunley shirt up on this store. And if you're enjoying this content, subscribe to Utah Jazz DNA. We'd love to give away a jersey once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers. So,
yep. One more comment, I think.
Let's go ahead and hit this next comment here.
What, KG? Yeah.
Whoa.
What did you do?
Don't worry about it. I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm scared.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, that's better.
All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball, shall we? What are you doing?
I'm just clicking on things.
Okay. You good?
Yeah.
All right, man. So let's go ahead and first jump into Major League Baseball. Let's talk about the Rafael Devers situation going on with the Boston Red Sox, man. And this situation just keeps getting worse. Do you want to break this down?
Yeah. Yes. So Rafael Devers obviously started the season. We covered it actually beginning of the season, right? The Boston, the Red Sox make a trade. They tell Devers beginning of the season,
They
hey,
sign a player. They make
signed a player. Who did they sign?
Third baseman from the Houston Astros. They signed. No, for hell's sakes.
I don't know. It's not in my notes.
Astros guy. They signed.
Greg, help us out.
Bregman.
That sounds right. Okay.
Bregman.
Anyways, they sign Bregman. They tell Rafael Devers, who is not the greatest defensive player on the planet. Matter of fact, he's a bad defensive player. To go ahead and take this season off, right? You're going to be a designated hitter. Everything's going to be good. We appreciate you for your bat. That's going to be your role this year. He's upset about this. At the beginning of the season, he's not very happy.
No,
he said, I'm a third baseman.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I play. And he finally accepts it. And then they come back and ask Devers, hey, Tristan Casas went down. We're going to need you to play first. So you got this?
Yeah.
And how does he respond, Darren?
He says, no, I'm not going to do it. He's like, you guys told me to put my glove away. He's like, what happens now? If someone goes out in the outfield, what are you going to do? Tell me to go play left field, right field? What are you guys going to expect me to do? So I don't know, man. He's telling them no. And it gets even better than this because it comes out that he actually had the owner of the team and the general manager fly out to Cincinnati where they were playing the Reds and sit him down and talk to him. They even had reports from other teammates talking to him saying, just stop talking to the media.
Yeah.
Stop talking, man.
Like, you need to stay the hell out of the media, dude. You are not doing good.
Yeah. What's your thought on all this, man? What do you think's going on here? Do you think who's honestly, I would argue that nobody's in the right here, but who's in the wrong here?
I think I'm kind of with you. Like, I think you can argue it both ways because I see Devers' point, right? The fact is like, if you do have a conversation where a team sits you down and you're committed to playing your position, whether you're bad at it or not, if you're a professional baseball player, you're pretty convinced you're pretty good at playing your position, even if statistically you're not.
Especially if you're the franchise player.
Exactly.
They let Mookie Betts walk, then Xander Bogaerts walk, and then they signed you to the fat contract.
Yeah.
You are their franchise player.
You're the big dollar guy, and they're going to sit you down and tell you, hey, we actually got a third baseman. You just do your best. You be the best hitter you can be. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as the team needs you, it's like, hey, jump back on board. We're going to need you first. I can see his point of being a little bit upset about this, but at the same time, as a professional athlete, if you're asked to do anything, again, you've said it a million times, you're getting paid millions of dollars to play a child's game. And that is your employer that's saying, you go do that. We need you to do that. You're either all in or in the way. Thank you, Kyle Whittingham. You've got to just go out there and say, yep, whatever I can do to help the team, I'm out there. So I think that Devers has got to just shut up first, get out of the media, shut your mouth, and go out there and play first.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you that, but honestly, man, I could kind of see where he's at, man. This is not like a utility player that you're asking to move around. It's not like the fifth guy on the bench. This is the highest paid player on your team. And you convinced him, hey, just focus on hitting. Just be our DH. Put away your glove. Just focus on that. And he does that. And he starts to come around. He starts hitting really, really, really well.
Right.
And once he starts getting the results he's wanting to see, then you tell him, just kidding. Now I need you to play first base. Now, is there examples of other superstars who are willing to move positions 3 times within 1 year? Actually, there is. It was the player that the Rockies traded because they didn't want to pay him in Mookie Betts. This is a player who started in right field, then got moved to second base in spring training, then was told he had to play shortstop.
They're like, you got this, Mookie.
And you know who didn't complain about it? Mookie Betts, man.
Yeah.
He got his contract. That's my point when it comes to Rafael Devers. You already got your contract. You already got your fat contract. You're already going to get paid. So just leave it where it is, man, and just do what the team asks you to do, man. It's not going to be that big a deal. Go play first, and if you suck, then fine. They're going to move you back to DH anyway. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. But yeah, so when it comes to that here, we want to jump into a few cards. There's one I wanted to hit up specifically because it leads nicely into our next conversation.
Down.
Right here.
Right there.
And this was from Car Wash Channels. Did you know the worst team right now is Colorado? They have the worst winning record. That is what we call a transition question there, because we're actually pivoting on right over to talk about the Colorado Rockies. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see if we get any views on a Rocky video. But anyway, so to your point there, Car Wash Channel, you're absolutely right that they do have, they are on pace for the worst winning percentage in Major League Baseball. They're currently sitting at 162, which if that continues, it'll be the worst record in baseball, which is actually even worse than what the White Sox did last year, AJ.
Which is crazy. And they're not helping themselves at all, man. I mean, they just fired manager Bud Black after a 21-0 loss. Like you said, just dropped them to 6-33. This team's really, really in the dumps right now. I mean, they're facing their 7th consecutive losing season, and
14 out of their last 15, dude.
14. I mean, that is insane, dude. That is really, really tough. They currently rank 28th in defensive runs saved, and it's kind of funny because their owner Dick Monfort claims that they have an elite defensive infield. When you're 28th in defensive runs saved, really tough to do that if you have an elite defensive infield.
Yep. No, you're 100% right here. And the fact that they fired Bud Black on this just pissed me off, dude.
Yeah, I noticed in the notes you said you had a rant, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this. So the Colorado Rockies do what a lot of teams do when they first start to lose a lot, is they go ahead and try to save face by firing their head coach, their manager, right?
Yeah.
Bud Black has been a staple for that team since 2003, 2004, something like that. He's been around with the team for a long time. He's been your head coach.
Yeah.
Right? He's done well with this whole losing trend that you guys have been on over for the last 15 years.
Supported you
for the second, and your cheap ways in managing your team. Didn't complain at all when you guys decided to sign Bryant to a ridiculous contract when he hasn't done anything for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He gave him like a 7-year deal, and even he admitted, like, I really should have checked out their farm system before I signed the contract. So honestly, dude, this was a move that teams that actually are trying make to kind of reinvigorate the locker room. There was no reason to fire Bud Black. Bud Black was not the problem. It's not like you fired him and all of a sudden, oh, now we're going to turn around. We're going to be a 500 ball club. Now, the reason why I say that 500 ball club is the Rockies GM Bill Schmidt believed that the team was capable of a 500 record, which he expressed optimism when in an interview in 2023. This guy actually he's like, oh yeah, I really think we got the talent this year to be a 500 ball club, which is not something you want to hear from your management, your general manager. Like, oh, we can, win as many games as we lose this year. Yeah. Bill
one out of every
being
two.
Optimistic about that and focusing on growth with the team and stuff like that. But that's just not what you want to have your manager say.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, you're going for the worst record in Major League Baseball. All this stuff is being done by the front office. Isn't done being done by the players. This is bad management, bad roster construction, and it all is on the GM and the ownership. This has nothing to do with Bud Black. And I'm really kind of frustrated that that's what they decided to do, was fire Bud Black over this. This was dumb.
Yeah. I mean, especially because this team's got terrible offense. Their starting pitching is terrible, but this dude's doing everything that he can with what he's got to try to put them in a position to win. And I mean, if you're going to look at silver linings, their bullpen's been decent. They ranked 19th in ERA, but I guess the other silver lining is people are still showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was 38,000 people in attendance at the 21-0 loss.
Yeah, I believe there's 16 in attendance, ranked 16 out of 30 teams.
Yeah,
which is impressive.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're always in the top half of attendance usually. So, yeah, it's kind of impressive for sure. As of right now, the Rays are up for sale and the Twins are for sale. So Utah can buy one of them and get an MLB team.
We sure hope so.
I really like what you're going with there. I think the Rays are only up for sale in the case that they would go to Orlando. I think MLB has been pretty sure on that they want the Rays to stay in Tampa Bay or in the Florida area, and they would have to sell to the Orlando Dreamers in order to keep them there. A little bit of stuff we need to talk about that when it comes to the Orlando Dreamers. We'll get into that here in on another episode, but with both that, the Twins being for sale, and it's presumed that the White Sox are going to be up for sale if they don't get their stadium approved for where they want it on the riverfront there. So lots of options for Utah to get a team. It would be involving not just relocation, but the team would actually have to sell to the Millers for sure. We also have another comment here for Greg Hawkins. I'm very
he has a very NBA attitude right now, and it does not fly in Major League Baseball. Devers, that's correct.
Yes, he does. Very much, very much. Okay, AJ, are you English?
Are you a friend once I win English? Yes, if you win English, I will be your friend. Absolutely.
Yes. Does that organization suck? Absolutely. Should
he still play position again? Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. Got some other comments here. That's the same one. Then we also have Greg Hawkins. The Rockies have always struggled with pitching, but that's just a terrible all around this year. Yeah, and the issue with pitching is where they're at. You know, the ball just doesn't move in Coors Field like it should. So your pitchers need to be able to adapt, and that's really tough for pitchers to change the way they pitch depending on where they're pitching. So not great there. But yeah, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to the Rockies and them firing Bud Black as a solution to their problems. I just love to hear some justification on that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the last subject we want to talk about, which is something we actually did have a video on a little bit earlier when it was first announced there. But we talked about whether or not, with the passing of Mr. Pete Rose, should he be allowed in the Hall of Fame? Well, it looks like Rob Manfred has made that decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred stated that deceased individuals are no longer a threat to the integrity of the game, and the league's punishment of banned players is considered to be a lifetime ban with no reprieve, which Manfred deemed to be the most impactful deterrent. So players that pass away are now eligible to be considered by the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that he's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Players that pass away are absolutely no longer a threat to the integrity of the game.
Fair enough.
And Pete Rose, we talked about it in a previous episode. This guy is the MLB hits leader. He has been. He probably will always be. I don't know if anybody's going to go on and break that record. Too soon. we're not quite
Ohtani for everything.
Okay, we're not quite there, Darren. He's a great player, but is he going to beat Pete Rose's hit record?
Probably.
I'm not sure about that. So I love it, man. I mean, there's a lot of great players that got caught up in scandals that were Shoeless Joe Jackson, one of them. Some other deceased players that are in there were Eddie Kikoti, Buck Weaver, and others that were involved in the 1919 Black Sox scandal. So these were players that helped shape baseball and turn baseball into the product that you see out there today. And for them to not be in the Hall of Fame is horrible. But I'm curious, do you think with this change, Pete Rose makes it into the Hall of Fame?
Sure, why not? Honestly, man, like I'm torn on this, dude. Like, you got to be really careful about how you want to manage the Hall. First of all, the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame is not part of Major League Baseball.
Right.
So by the fact that Major League Baseball Hall of Fame just stuck with these bands was purely their decision. They could have been like, yeah, well, we're not affiliated with you, so go kick rocks. We're putting whatever we want in there.
Yeah.
But so when you mentioned like Shoeless Joe Jackson, there's plenty of evidence that he had nothing to do with this Black Sox scandal. He actually played very well in the World Series in that 1919 scandal. So the fact that he was banned for life on that was just unfortunate because, but he took the ban, he accepted it, a little bit, but the difference here between that and Pete Rose is this guy denied doing it for 15 years until he could sell a book.
Yeah.
And then he decided, oh, okay, yeah, I did cheat, but I only bet on my team to win. And then, again, continued to lie about it, and he was actually given a shot. A lot of people don't know this. The previous baseball commissioner, Bud Selig, did give him an option. He did give him a way to get released and be readmitted while he was still alive.
Right.
All he had to do was quit gambling and admit what he did was wrong and come to and fully confess.
And he was like, yeah, nah.
No, I'm not doing it. He's like, I'm not going to stop gambling on sports, and I'm not going to. He's like, okay, fine. So he was given his option. He still didn't do it.
You made your choice.
He was given a choice several times.
Right.
And then you also have to decide, okay, at what point are we going to allow people in? Is it just going to be based off of baseball, or does your character matter? Because according to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame right now, Cooperstown, they say that character matters. Now, there's plenty of players in Cooperstown that were, domestic violence abusers, drug users, steroid users. There's plenty of them in there, right? But in this case, though, like, there's a lot more to Pete Rose that I don't want to go into on this channel.
Yeah, and I think Greg's comment hits it perfectly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You gonna read it?
Yeah. Pete Rose was a terrible human being, but he's a Hall of Fame player.
So, yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. Shoeless Joe Jackson should have been in the Hall of Fame already.
Yep.
And so Pete Rose gets into the Hall of Fame, but Trevor Bauer is still banned. Dude, Greg, you had to open that door, man. It's in my notes.
Thanks, Greg.
You had to open that door. But yeah, so when it comes to it, sure. If we're going to just let players in for what they are, then we got to let them in. He's the all-time hits leader. Sure, let him in. Do you, for a second, not put in the fact that that he had a lifetime ban and he's only put in posthumously? Yeah, you got to tell that story too.
Absolutely.
Shoeless Joe Jackson, I think he should be cleared.
I think that's the thing about Pete Rose is you have to put a little asterisk by on his plaque in the Hall of Fame that says entered posthumously because the lifetime ban had expired with his death.
Yeah, I think it's fine, man. I'm okay with it. Now, when it comes to that, let's go ahead and talk about the Trevor Bauer thing. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, so Trevor Bauer did make a tweet about it after.
Oh, of course he did.
Which we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, he basically tweeted, so you actually had to do something to get your ban lifted from Major League Baseball. You actually had to do something wrong. I'm paraphrasing it. We'll put it up on the screen if we get around to making this one. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on that? On our boy Trevor Bauer's comments.
I mean, I'm a Trevor Bauer supporter. I think he does belong. I think he does belong in Major League Baseball. And I still hope that obviously he gets his chance before his prime years are really gone. I don't know how I feel about his comment. I mean, to say that you have to do something to get your ban lifted, I mean, that something was die.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, he meant you had to do something wrong in order to have your ban lifted. He's still claiming he's innocent of everything. So
right.
Which, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Trevor Bauer is not in baseball because of Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only issue that I have.
Because of who he is.
It's because
off the field.
Not just that, like, these comments, man, like constantly commenting on, woe with me, I'm the victim here, every chance he gets about when it comes to baseball. When he's had opportunities to come back in the league, he just didn't take them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I agree that Trevor Bauer deserves to have a shot in Major League Baseball. Absolutely. He's a talented enough pitcher, not showing it this year in Japan so far, but he is a talented enough pitcher to have a spot in Major League Baseball. He just needs to, it's all on him on whether or not he is or not. He just, I just feel bad for him because he's a talent and he's definitely a great teammate for a lot of young pitchers that could use a lot of knowledge from him. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. I don't know where that ends up. I don't know if he's going to get a shot after this year because, like you said, he's getting up there. He's 35 years old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, love to see him come back in Major League Baseball, but at this point, I doubt he makes it. We also have another comment here from Greg Hawkins saying Bauer's prima donna attitude doesn't help him at all. And yeah, you're spot on there, man.
That is 100% his problem right now.
Yeah, and I don't really want to get into it because I don't think we're gonna make a video on this one. But
It's a video for another day.
yeah,
Tune in, Greg.
yeah. In all reality, man, the fact that he's not admitting to what he did do, which is actually in evidence, that is a violation of Major League Baseball policy. He's not even admitting to that, and then he's claiming victim on everything. Is basically the reason why he's not in Major League Baseball. But anyway, with that said, there we got one more downer that we need to talk about, which is going to be the Dodgers. We can't talk on this channel without talking a little bit about the Dodgers, AJ. And yeah, another pitcher down for the count for the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki.
For the record, you did call this.
I did.
Yeah.
I did actually. Yeah, he should have been spent some time in minor league baseball, getting everything squared away. And what's really funny is when he is eligible to come back, they're saying like, is DC being optioned down to AAA? They're like, no, we're gonna bring him back up. I'm like, anyway, so Roki Sasaki's down. I saw this tweet earlier today where there's like 16 different players that the Dodgers have on active roster right now that are all injured.
Dude, that is insane.
Yeah, but good news is Clayton Kershaw's coming back. He's going to be starting this Saturday against the Angels.
How's his catcher?
Oh, his catcher, AJ Barnes, just got DFA'd. So basically, the only reason why he's been on the team this last 5 years or so is because he's Clayton Kershaw's catcher, and you don't mess with Austin Barnes. You don't mess with Clayton Kershaw's personal catcher, and then right before he starts, they release him. So, wonder what they're going to do there.
I bet you'll be able to tell us next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that.
I would guess Will Smith.
Yeah, he's probably going to be the catcher. Yeah, he's the starting catcher. But they did bring up Dalton Rushing, which is their number one prospect in the minors.
Oh, nice.
Who is also a catcher. So.
Maybe him and Clayton Kershaw are tight, and that's why he's like, no, I'm done with this old dude. Let me get some fresh talent in here.
Yeah, looking for happy trails to Austin Barnes, man. You've been a Dodger for a long time. You caught the last pitch in the 2020 World Series. So yeah, Dodger legend Austin Barnes, aka Sam. If you know, you know. You got anything else you want to talk about today?
Greg Hawkins comment.
All right. Let's see here. Do the Dodgers just treat their pitchers like garbage or something? What's going on in LA?
Ride them hard, put them away wet. That's what they do, man.
This is a family channel, man.
I know, but I'm just saying, like you can't.
Yeah, no. When it comes to the Dodgers pitchers, man, I just think that they take risks on pitchers that have a history of injury.
Yeah,
Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow. They bring over pitchers from Japan, which takes some time to adjust to Major League Baseball. Yamamoto was out for quite a long time last year. Roki Sasaki's out this year. And they also take out when it comes to bullpen pieces, they take risks there too. The Dodgers just take risks on starters that have a history of injury prone and try to fix their pitches and try to mix their pitch mix, and it always ends up hurting them for sure. We got another comment here from friend of the channel, Tammy Price. Sucks for Barnes. Yeah, Barnesies, man. Gonna be sad to see that go. Second longest tenure Dodger next to Kershaw. So he's been with the team for a long time. He's been steady. He's been healthy. So yeah, happy trails to you there, man. Hopefully you find a gig somewhere. But yeah, it definitely was time. Ironically, he's having his best year from the plate this year in like 6 years. So like he basically was just a catcher. He didn't do anything else well. Didn't hit well. Didn't run well. So
they're like, this guy can catch.
Yeah, he's really good. He can catch for Clayton. Yes. But once again, folks, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. As a reminder, folks, this channel did just hit 1,000 subscribers. We're giving the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. 5 subscribers are each going to earn $100 each. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway, and smash that like button for your boy AJ.
Yes, please do. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available, the whole thing in its entirety, as a podcast, wherever you get your audio.
With all that said, that has been AJ. I have been Darren, and this has been an episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.